As we mentioned in our last video, we are starting a new property renovation.
And today we're going to be viewing 3 properties. Property number 1, property number 2, and property number 3, the wildcard property.
And wait till you see the plans for this one because it is such a juicer.
We're looking for a property that is completely bruised and battered so that we can turn it into a fully functional, high-finish family dream home. Similar to the one we've just completed, but a whole lot more ambitious.
And although the finished product will be bigger and better, unfortunately the road to getting there will be the same story as this last time for us. Living on the floor in a dusty building site and doing the majority of the work all by ourselves. But don't worry, we secretly love it.
And this is only just the beginning, so strap in for a crazy series of DIY. It's going to be a wild one, but first, let's find ourselves a property to renovate.
So, property number 1 is this picturesque 3-bed, 2-bath detached home near St Albans. Although beautiful on the outside, this house certainly needs some work on the inside, with gaping cracks, unloved bathrooms, and an interior design similar to what you'd find in your nan's house.
So, after meeting the estate agent Matthew and bombarding him with the usual questions, we found out the reasons behind this house almost being inside our maximum available budget. Listed at just £415,000 with similar sized properties on the same road being sold in excess of £700,000, this house has real potential. But what's the story behind it and why is it being sold for so cheap?
Sadly, this gorgeous house had been repossessed by the bank who had offered the current owner his mortgage. They've done this in order to pay off his various financial debts, and clearly the old chap was struggling.
It's a lot more work than I thought. Now, let's talk about the layout of this house.
Walking into this house, you're met with an open plan reception room, with the front door being centred between both. Looping through the downstairs, you're met with a modest kitchen, a downstairs bathroom, and then the large extension added to the rear of the house, which is currently used as a bedroom by the previous owner.
I think the garden's actually quite a nice size because sometimes you don't want to have to mow too much. So I like it. There's potential, but way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I think we need to get a quantity surveyor because I have no idea how much money we'd be loading into this. Up in the loft, the joists are made out of literal trees. Like, no shit, it's wood, but it's not like, normal kind of 4x4, 2x2s.
It's not like planed wood, it's just wood.
It's like
branches.
A tree cut into quarters. Crazy.
We've had a good think about various options for altering the house's current layout, and this is an idea we've come up with. Removing this low-bearing wall as well as the current downstairs cloakroom to make an open-plan, split-levelled L-shaped kitchen diner, with bifold doors then installed here to ensure adequate light and to extend the feel of the space onto a freshly laid patio courtyard here.
We then loved the idea of removing the existing wall either side of this fireplace, leaving it centred and as a feature in the house's new snug area. We then build up a new stub wall here to create a private study, whilst moving the downstairs cloakroom to the back of the house here, but keeping it as a functional utility space.
As you can tell, we've already brainstormed a lot of plans for this house, and we're at danger of falling head over heels in love with it. Now, never in our lives did we think that we would be able to view a house as beautiful as this one. I briefly skimmed over the resale of this property earlier, but let's delve into those numbers a little bit more now.
This 4-bed house literally over the road from the property we're currently viewing, with similar curbside charm, sold for £710,000 in September 2022. With this relatively large property, again on the same road a few doors down, selling for £820,000 in April of 2022.
So this house really does have massive potential in terms of resale. But the street it's on could also be one of its massive negatives.
The one thing we're not keen on with this house is the proximity to the road. As you can probably hear, there are cars going past pretty loud, and although it's not the M25, it does put us off a little bit.
Now, there are really so many pros to this house, but also some cons. So let's just break that down and list them off quickly.
As for the pros, this house is so beautiful from the outside, so the curb appeal really is golden. There is plenty of potential for a good resale value, and we just have a really good feeling about the area it's in.
The cons, however, are this property is obviously going to be a lot of work to rejig the space to kind of make it work in a modern family home. The garden is obviously quite humble in size, which is a little bit of a negative, and this property is right at the top end of our budget, if not above, so it would potentially mean taking out an even bigger loan and something we might not be able to actually afford.
Having said all that, I absolutely love the property and it kind of has my heart.
Let's just get it.
Yeah, shall we? But before you let us know what you guys think of the house, let's have a little look at property number 2.
Because it is a belter.
It is. Another one.
Property number 2, or should I say properties number 2, is actually 3 flats in this gorgeous freehold building in Aldborough, Suffolk, guided at £250,000 for the whole lot.
Stinks.
Now, clearly these flats have a lot of work that they need doing to them, but this opportunity has really sparked our interest for some reason.
And we know that we're going to get our hands very, very dirty, and like the last one, we're going to be living in a building site. Love it. And considering there are 3 flats, what's more better than being able to sleep and set up a little camp in one of them whilst we start work on the other 2?
It would mean we'd really have kind of like a safe haven base, which is kind of a big turn on for us.
Yeah, it's a game changer. The potential for these flats is crazy.
Right now, all of the flats are 1 beds, that with a bit of reconfiguration and some elbow grease, we could end up with 2 2-bed flats and 1 1-bed, which could potentially resell for anything in between £250,000 to £300,000 each. And that's because, fun fact, Aldborough is the 4th most expensive seaside town in the whole of the UK.
In terms of how we turn a 1-bed into a 2-bed, we'd pop a stud wall here in the dining room, creating bedroom 2. Then we'd take out this tiny kitchen and replace it with a small ensuite for bedroom 2. And then we'd make the living room an open kitchen living area, probably with the kitchen up against the wall here, a sofa in the middle, and a little 2 or 4-seater dining table in the bay window area.
But of course, we probably have our hopes set way too high, as we reckon the estate agents have created a very low guide price of £250,000 to get as much interest as possible.
But it's also important for us to remember that it's not all about the money. There are other important factors that come into play which will decide whether we buy this property or not. And in terms of location, we think we might have outstayed our welcome in sunny Suffolk.
Because although it is much cheaper, it would be really nice to be a bit more down south, closer to family and closer to friends. Not only for emotional support, but also because it's free labour.
Yes. But before you guys go down in those comments and tell us what you think of the property, let's go over the pros and cons quickly.
As for the pros, this property is going to keep us very busy. It's something that really excites us, and there is clearly a lot of money to be made.
As for the cons, it might get a little bit repetitive for us doing the work 3 times over. I think it will be very similar stuff we're doing in all the flats, and we might get a bit bored of that. Another con is that there is a lot of competition to buy this property, and I think this means that the price will slowly drift out of our price range.
And as for the final negative, it kind of comes from some insider knowledge we have because we live in East Suffolk just down the road, and that is that the water in Suffolk is awful. So renovating and living here in Suffolk for the past 12 months, this Waterdrop RO system has completely saved us. And that's because pretty much all of the houses here in Suffolk have a lead pipe work system where lead pipes lead up to the house, meaning that water that sits in them pipes dissolves some of the metal into the water and just makes it taste pretty rubbish.
And this little guy here uses reverse osmosis to purify our water, remove all the nasties, and makes it taste amazing.
So the reverse osmosis system, we just keep kind of using that phrase. What it actually is it uses a high force pressured pump to pump the water through a semi-permeable membrane, taking out all of them nasties, all of the bad things that you do not want in your water.
Like salts and contaminants.
And stuff. Now, what it does with these contaminants is it rejects them down a separate water stream, so it stays away from the water that comes out of the system, giving you just the good stuff.
And we haven't even told you guys the best part yet.
What is the best part?
Well, let me tell you. You guys know, watching us become tradies over the last few months, that we could drink tea and coffee until it is coming out of our ears.
Quite literally.
And this Waterdrop can produce instant hot water in just 1 second. Meaning we can have teas and coffees pretty much on demand, which is a game changer for us.
Which also means that we can get rid of our old lime scaly kettle.
The 4-mode temperature options means that we can either have an instant cup of tea or coffee, or just have a fresh glass of water with no nasties in it. I'm sure you'll agree that the sleek design fits in perfectly with the high spec of our kitchen. And I'm thinking there is no kitchen that it wouldn't look good in.
So if you want instant purified water in your household, then head down to the description to find the link to this product, because we cannot recommend it enough. Anyway, that's enough from us.
Let's get back to the video.
Now for the wild card, potentially the most spectacular property of the three. Here, just 5 minutes up the road from our current house in Suffolk, is a collection of derelict barns, nestled within an acre of scenic rural land, guided at £300,000.
We've just arrived, and I feel like this is one of the properties that I think about when I wake up, and I either think, hell yeah, I want to get involved in this, or I think, why on earth would I want to do that? Should we get out and have a look?
Let's get out.
Oh my god, well, it could be stunning, couldn't it?
Let's explore this barn a bit.
If we really took our time with this renovation, no doubt this property would be the best out of the three. And not only did the auctioneer agree with us on this, but he was actually egging us on a bit.
I'll be totally honest with you, I'm currently building a home to live in, and if I wasn't, I would genuinely be looking at it. It's going to be absolutely stunning. I think it's a bloody awesome lot. But anyway, sir, I do apologise, I shouldn't say that to you. You need to go and have a look yourself.
But as you can see, like all of the other properties, but if not more on this one, there is a crazy amount of work to be done. Luckily for us, on the auction site, it already shows that there are plans to turn these barns into a 4-bed house with a separate annex.
With a courtyard come parking space come garden right in the centre of it.
How bougie is that?
It's very bougie, and you can imagine the bifolds on all sides of the building. It'd be gorgeous.
Wow. So, remembering from the plans, I think this is where all 4 bedrooms are kind of going to go, with a long hallway kind of going down this side here. And you'd have 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. This is a lot of work. And then I think if we headed back out this way, we would then have a living room in this smaller barn at the end here. And the barn that is completely unusable and kind of falling apart right now, that would be a massive kitchen diner. And that would have bifold doors on the back all the way along it, looking out over these views. How ridiculous is that? It would be insane.
What I have just noticed is that an owl has just come out of this barn. And after a little bit of researching ages ago about barns, when we were first ever looking to buy a house, we found out that it's really hard to get planning permission if you have owls that have nested in the barns. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Excuse me, mate.
It's a bit loud, isn't it?
We're trying to film here. So as you know, if you watched the last series, we've always been living on site during renovations, and our plan would be to do the same in this one. So this little annex building here behind us could be kind of ideal to kind of renovate first, build ourselves a base, and live in that whilst we do this massive barn project. Might be getting a bit ahead of myself, but I'm seeing myself sleeping in there. The positives to this wildcard property are pretty obvious to us. It has the most amazing countryside views with the potential to be the most grand family home, which will also have a massive potential for some resale when all is said and done.
We also think this would be a really interesting YouTube series, but part of us thinks maybe we're biting off a little bit more than we can chew, especially because I think the first half of all the building work, we might not even be able to participate ourselves in because it will be kind of skilled labour, doing foundations, digging stuff. I don't know if it's something that actually we'd end up kind of falling out of love with.
Now, after some closer research into the planning permission for these barns, it turns out that these barns look like they're getting sold with planning permission, but actually it was just a planning application put forward to the council and then withdrew before it got accepted.
Or before it even got commented on. Meaning we'd end up with 3 derelict barns and being £300,000 out of pocket.
Either way, it has opened up a real question for us on whether a barn conversion or a project as bold as this is possible for us right now, and whether it's something as viewers you guys would like to see. Do you want to see us suffer?
And have mental woes.
Now, we importantly really want to know what property is your favourite in the comments down below. Let us know what one you like and why you like it, because it's going to be really useful for us in choosing which project we do.
And if you guys are big Rightmove scrollers just like us and you come across something that you think would be really up our street, then make sure you comment that down below. Just copy their address and postcode and pop it in the comments so that we can find it on Rightmove too. We would absolutely love to see what you come up with for us.
Don't post links because they won't work. YouTube doesn't allow links in the comments.
Just the postcode. Our main goal is to make this content as enjoyable and watchable for you guys to watch, but also for us to keep a really cool video diary of all the crazy stuff that we've been doing. So with that, if you guys did watch the last series, we'd love to know what you did love about that and what you want to be seeing in this series that you may not have seen in the last one. Be completely honest and raw with us. What do you guys want to see for this next one? Because we want to deliver it.
I'm thinking maybe a little bit longer episodes, something similar to this one. I'm thinking maybe we can...
20 plus minutes.
Maybe. Let's not promise something we can't perform to.
Yeah.
And with all that being said, make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. It's completely free to do, and it means you won't miss any of this crazy renovation series we've got coming up, with potentially some more viewings happening in the future, maybe reviewings, but we've got a lot of thinking to do and some really hard decisions to make.
So with that, we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
When who knows, we might have bought one. Who knows?
Make sure you're following us on Instagram. Bye!